Hello everyone and welcome back to Neopets the Darkest Faerie. Halfway done the districts. Now we have our third district to go to. This one's straying off a little bit with the path in order to get into the shrine. We have the money district, where we get to see Altador and all of its wealth, pretty much. I will just point out immediately right now that for some reason Altador has yellow water, and I'm not sure why, other than it's supposed to be reflecting the golds that the city is encased with, but it just really just looks like pea water. Yeah, I wouldn't go near it. But again, there is not a lot that we're able to see outside of just going to the shrine, which is in the center on the far out areas. It does have a fairy statue. But like I said, there is a difference in order to get in here. It's not like the arena district where we're able to just go in and do the shrine. This door is locked, and we can't get in this way, so we gotta find another way in order to get in. There are some unique symbols to the money district that we don't see elsewhere, so we can actually take advantage of that in order to find where we're needing to go. Plus the big building also helps. We're gonna head to the library. Why the library is gonna help us? Well, we'll see. Can I get a better camera? Thank you. There we go. So, library, we're going to take a look at this more in depth once everything is finished here, because even though it's a library, it's very noisy right now with a whole lot of artillery shooting at us from every which way. We're looking for a specific door, which is actually on the 3rd floor of the library, which will take us to the outside. But with a little bit of clever ingenuity, it actually leads us to a back path in order to get into the treasury. And only one side has this door as well. This side doesn't. And at least I like the 3rd floor though. Minions tend to not come up here. They try to, sometimes. There's a floating guy right there, but it doesn't really work. Some of the time. There we go, there's our door. And no? Okay. Good. In order to get into the treasury, we're going to be using the aqueducts in order to get across. Again, don't really like the water that's kind of in here. Hopefully it's treated very well. It does flow out blue, but then it's just yellow. There's a lot of saturation. Make sure you do not fall off here as well, otherwise you'll have to go through the library again in order to get back up. It's not something you want to do. Especially because of all the raised edges where water flows out, it can be annoying when all of a sudden you are going to be automatically jumping when you really don't want to. But for some reason we get a reward for just doing this. We get a starring egg, the last one of the game. And a save point just to make sure that you don't have to do that section again. But it's not too much of a bother. So good. Welcome to the treasury. Or as I would like to call it, the money shrine. It's medium in length. Since we've done the longest with the sewer shrine and the shortest with the Colosseum, the other two, they're somewhere in the middle. They do have their own sections that they are divided into that we need to deal with. For instance, since we're dealing with money and I guess the olden times, we have to deal with a scale. It's actually not that much of a puzzle. We just need to get over to the one side that we're able to access. Because if we go over there, there's something that we can just push onto that scale. This big huge block. with some ingots on the top of it. Do that. It weighs it down. And then we just need to get to the other side, which I think we can actually just cross the gap here if we're really good about it. Should be able to. Just use the little bits right here in order to do that. No. Nope. Good. Okay, I'm stuck. I'll have to let go. Really don't want to, but yeah. Not that hard in order to get to the other side. I just wanted to see if it was quicker. And then with that, we can climb the scale up to where this open door is, and get to the actual meat of the treasury. It's weird that there's no other way up here. I think this being the richest district, they would be able to do something about that in terms of infrastructure, but nope. The main part of the treasury has you navigating around a maze, as you can see right in the middle there. It's not that much of a maze. And of course, the age-old strategy of hugging the right wall always comes into effect, because the goal that we're trying to do here first off is trying to find a switch to pull. As sometimes the music decides to change on us. There are no enemies in the actual maze, but the reason that the battle music decides to flare up is because after this is where the actual enemies are. They just can't get to this area. There we go. It's over in this corner here. And once we flip this, some of the maze rotates. So now that we have access to new areas that we weren't able to get to before. Including, well, our next destination. And the other half of the maze. And I mentioned that this is only half of it. Because we can get to the other side. Except here's our enemies. They're really not that hard to beat. It's just that I'm using Tor, which makes it a little bit more annoying. So Roberta is better here. Especially when they get super confused. Come on, guys. Yeah. Fine. We'll go down. He'll come down to my level soon enough. Or just get really stuck. Okay. On. Stop with your dodging. Thank you. Now in the center here, you can see the door. We can't get through the door. It's blocked by 3 blockades that we'll need to deal with eventually, but there's still more maze work that we need to be doing. There's another switch that we need to do because we need to do one more rotation of the maze before it becomes, well, a pathway. It's kind of nice that the maze design kind of does this, because after you do this rotation, you pretty much have access to the entrance of the maze, as well as kind of quick access to the big door that we just passed by, as well as one other route, which leads us to opening the door in question. It's just getting to that part, which can take a little bit. Also, if you were wondering whether or not the map changes based on how the maze changes, no, unfortunately not. Which I don't find surprising all that much, because that would mean that this one map has 3 iterations, and no map in this game has more than one concept to it. So, yeah, it's all for consistency's sake. And then we move along, and boom! We have 6 switches to deal with in this left side of the map, as well as the treasure. Yeah, always good. Alright, so 6 switches. 3 of them are tied to the door. 3 of them are not. Let's just start hitting switches, I guess. We can go in this one, and that one didn't do it. Okay, let's try this one. By the way, there is no penalty for not choosing the wrong ones in order to open this specific door. You can flip all of them if you want. Just 3 of them are tied to making 3 minions appear, even though we didn't see the first one. After dealing with them, though, we can get to the next room, which is a really, really simple room. Sometimes there's a minion there to just get in your way for the sake of, well, padding and wasting your time. But the main object of this is to open up this very giant key. And to do that, we have to keep flipping switches. Over and over and over. There are 4 switches, and then a 5th central switch that is for the entire mechanism. Just have to make sure that each of the shapes correspond to each of the holes in their right position. They could have made this one a lot harder by making it so that one of the switches made it so that 2 of the shapes actually turned around, but no, it's just 1 switch for each of them. I guess it is at this time that the game is running long, so having people waste their time in order to try and get this puzzle down is a little bit much. I appreciate that, because the next section is where it's going to take just a whole lot of time. And it's not fun. Also, do you want save points on top of your save points? Because the game does that. Don't know how long they expect you to take, but especially with this part, the save point is a really good idea in order to do, because, well, I'll get into what we're supposed to do in this room, but just pay attention to the gold that's kind of waiting in here. It works like lava, and that you will melt yourself and die, and it's game over, and Roberta's so pleased with herself. So the goal of this is you have to press and push blocks onto switches, which will make more Neopoints and gold flow into the pits in order to raise the platforms. Don't think about it too much. The thing that gets in the way, though, is that constantly you are bombarded with minions shooting at you as you are pushing these blocks in order to get across further into the room. I'm skipping all of this just because, well, if I were to show you all of it, it would be like 4 or 5 minutes in order to get this room done. And it's just a chore. It's a huge waste of time because you have to stop every now and again in order to make sure that you are not being bombarded by archers. But we do get to the other side of the treasury. Oh boy. Okay, hello.
Thank you, my friends. Here is a token of my appreciation and a mere pittance for your troubles. Should you ever have need of my services, feel free to give me a call.
Not just the token, but also a whole bunch of Neopoints as well. Oh my... Get out! I'm so done with these guys. Ah, boy. You can still die here. There's 2 ways to die. One is the bottomless chasm behind where he was, and also the gold. Let's get out of here, though. Alright. Pops us up right outside the treasury, and now we can just kind of go around and explore the money district. Let's say hello to people. Not sure what's going on with just the haircuts. It's very simplistic. Cool. Screw you then. And the arena district's fine, so don't worry about it. Everybody's going around getting money. What, are you the villain to, like, over the hedge? Or maybe it's a nutshell. Why am I remembering these movies? So it's not just talking to people around in the money district that you can also do. You can also get the Wheel of Prosperity, the third wheel and final wheel that you're able to do. It's certainly the highest paying wheel if you get it all done correctly. It is also the most expensive in order to get started. And just kind of excuse the fact that the music just kind of cut out. You know, we need some temptation here. Everybody's on edge, everybody's breathless. To see if I can actually do this wheel correctly. I guess the wording is kind of a good thing with this one. Because it says how much you've won back, but you're still at a loss. And now you're up 50, so we're at 115 Neopoints at this point, and 2 more left to go. There we go. Excellent. So our payout is we get our 100 back plus 600 more, so we get 700 Neopoints in total. Now we can see what the shops have available for us. Probably not much. But you know, it's always good to see what the wares are. Ooh, a map. Always good to see a map. Because you know, these guys have nothing else for me right now. I have all the equipment I really need. Yeah, that's cool and all, but you have a piece of paper over here, and I'm just gonna take that and just gonna be on my way. Yeah. Yep. See ya. Also, another magic shop. What thing? Weird. So you can get more moats. Ooh, a map. Yeah, it's good. Good maps. I like maps. Oh, you have information, you say? No, I want you to know your information. You're not going to tell me your information at all. I'm just going to take your map, because that's the only interesting thing you actually have, and be on my way. So yeah, not much in the money district for wares and actually people wandering around, to be completely honest, but there is the library that we can return to. This is where the rest of the people actually are kind of wandering around. And now that we're here and not getting fired upon constantly, we can see what there is to see. Also, the Neopets is actually in this district, so if you're looking for that one in particular, he's here. All of the Neopets are in Altador to some degree. I'll get to why I mean that a little bit later. Now there she is. Alright.
Oh.
Might as well start with the librarian. She's a lot better than Brightveil's. Except she is a long talker, which I can kind of relate to. How so? Depends. Like, there's picking your brain and then being obsessive about it to the point of very creepy. But talking to the librarian pretty much just gives a little bit more to the lore. So you can learn a little bit about the legends. So Torokar is one, and Kelland, basically the ones that
Oh.
we're very focused on.
Oh.
Sometimes you get their elemental alignment. Of course, Kellen, being the thief, is dark aligned.
Oh. Hmm. Wow.
She also talks about the center, Jordana. We don't know a lot about her other than that our
Wow.
top quest has to do with something about her, but we'll learn a lot more about her as we go through.
Oh.
They sure did banish her name. And even though she was dark aligned like Kelland, her dominion was dreams.
Oh.
Which kind of makes sense based on what we learned in Act 3, where some of the bosses were manifested from dreams. In myths and stories.
Wow.
Now, there's one book that is actually in the fountain for some reason. Wouldn't do that when surrounded by water. That pretty much just says the fate of the darkest fairy who was banished. Hey, come on, get it. There we go. Also, whoop. Believe this guy was also up here while I was talking to the librarian, but man, you really want down, don't you? Yeah, you want to turn around and look at me while you're... Nope. Okay. Yeah, it's called Future. No thanks. This is your reminder to read books, because reading books is good. It is really, though. Okay. Alrighty. Well, I hope so too. Could be just a giant switch and go, oh, we're the villains of this game. Now, on the top floor, there are a bunch of books that are by the windows here. These books tie to the legends of Altador, so you get a little bit more about who they are. They kind of tie them to specific things like the Bard, and also, you know, every group of legends has to have an Aquaman. This is pretty much the only PFN that's also mentioned in the game, as well as underwater Neopets in general, but this was also the time during the destruction of Marikwa, I want to say, in the lore. Like, again, I couldn't say for sure. And of course, the Darkest Faerie. It was Kellen's fault. He brought her in. You had the Fairy of Light. And this is also a thing about a lot of the legends of Altador, is that they're not tied to one district as a result. They're really just there for Altador as a whole, especially with the fairies, like the Wind Fairy, of course. And then we have Jordana, who is, well, let's just say the hero who started at nothing and became god of destruction if she really wanted to be. The thief, of course. See, there's a difference between, like, I guess being, what, chaotic good and then chaotic evil? We have the shepherd for all the pet-pets. And then we have the bro. Because really his story about joining the Legends is that King Altador and him fought for a while and then they became bros forever. course, it's like I like that a lot of the legends are also not all fighters. Like Gordos is just the accountant to make sure that they're able to fight and not in debt. But that's actually all of the books up here, so there's actually 2 missing. One is for the Kachik hero, who is the farmer hero, so I guess there wasn't a lot to say about him. But also King Altador doesn't get a book either, so there isn't a lot of fleshing out for him, which is strange. There has to be a book somewhere, but I'm probably just not seeing it. Otherwise, that's it for the Money District at this point. We will be returning here for 2 specific reasons, like we will be for revisiting all of the districts, but one in particular that we just can't show at this time. But until then, see you next time, everyone. We have 1 more district to go.